To go further in depth, we're pleased to be joined by famed defense attorney and Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz. Alan, of course, the author of the ebook Terror Tunnels, the case for Israel's just war against Hamas. He's also a blogger on our parent website, Newsmax.com. Alan, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on America's Forum.
Good morning, thanks. By the way, my book's now in hardcover also, as well as an ebook, so you can get it for Hanukkah and Christmas.
I was just going to say, in time for the holidays and not a minute too soon. Right. Alan, we will get to the Sony hacking in just a minute, but YNetNews.com is reporting that Hamas is preparing for its next conflict with Israel, rebuilding those terror tunnels, first exposed in the last conflict, and the tunnels you write about in your book. What do you know about this?
Well, I predicted it in my book. What they do is they make peace, then they rearm, they get better and more sophisticated rockets, build deeper and more deadly tunnels, and then they start another war. Why? Because they win every single war in the court of public relations. Because the President of the United States attacks Israel, saying Israel could do more to prevent civilian casualties. No, they couldn't. They're doing more than any country in the world to prevent civilian casualties. The European Union, attacks Israel and doesn't condemn Hamas. They take Hamas off their terror list. So why not start a new war? You're going to win in the court of public relations every time you attack Israel, because the United States government doesn't stand behind Israel as much as it should. The European community always supports the terrorists and not Israel. And so there's a very great incentive for Hamas to start over again. The European community is pouring money into Gaza. Where's that money going? It's going to rebuild the tunnels and to rebuild the rockets. So the European community is helping to start wars against Israel. And now the UN wants to recognize Palestine unilaterally without asking the Palestinians to do anything in return. It's an invitation to disaster.
In the 2.5 minutes that remain, let's turn from Israeli national security to our own national security and this Sony hack. You said that North Korea was able to do what no American president could do: censor an American movie. Now, reports say there may be connections to Russia, Iran, and China as well with this North Korean hacking. Your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, we have to make sure that whoever did this pays a heavy consequence, and they have to know that it can't ever succeed. And the best way to make it fail is for all the studios to get together now and to release the film free on the internet, so that not 10, 20 million people will see it, but hundreds of millions of people will see it. North Korea, or whoever is behind this, has to learn. You try to censor in America, more people will see your film than ever before. You know, I had a client many years ago who had an unsuccessful film, and he tried to get me to get the government to censor it so that more people would watch it. That has to be the response. The end result in North Korea has to be, if we ever do this, more people will see it. There'll be less censorship. More people will understand what a fool the North Korean leader is, and we have to fight back. We just can't accept losing to the terrorists the way we're doing now.
So your suggested response is to go straight to the marketplace in the here and now with the internet and just a mass release of this motion picture to anyone, anywhere to see it. It's satire, and in that way to champion the First Amendment. You've got about a minute to comment.
Not only that, but also send a message that if you ever try to censor anything again, whether it's Newsmax or Fox News or the New York Times, we're going to make sure 10 times as many people read it as would have seen it or read it before. So every time you try to censor, the end result will be more people will get access to it than ever before. That is at least one positive response that the private sector, in the absence of government responses, which we're not seeing at this point, the private sector can fight back.
In perhaps somewhat of a different context, but the same sentiment, I believe it was Mr. Justice Brandeis who said sunlight is the best disinfectant. Alan, you're saying
Absolutely.
Sunlight is the best defense against those who would try to abridge and assault our freedoms. Alan, we thank you for your time. We're going to ask you to hang in here with us as we'll continue the discussion. Up next, the American spy the U.S. received back from Cuba has been to New York many times, but what do we know about him? Again, Alan Dershowitz will stay here, and General Michael Hayden will open the dossier on national security, the Sony hack, and Cuba when we come back here on America's Forum.